Welcome back to the Heel Deal podcast. We're back to our regular Sunday night. You'll hear it Monday morning time slot. How are you feeling today, Zach?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I mean, we're coming off that tough loss yesterday. I imagine everyone listening to this was watching that game at home against App State. Did not go the way we planned. Talk to me about how you felt about that.
Well, at the time, I felt pretty bad. Now, looking at it, obviously I remember kind of that App State was a good team. By no means were they, really bad, and they upset us at home in any kind of rare fashion. But it still stings, this was a game we thought we could win. So
yeah, and I mean, anyone who listened to last week's episode, you knew Zach and I were both on board. Before we get too deep into this, though, I want to let you guys know that since we're coming off a short week, since we released the last podcast last Wednesday, I'm not going to do a rundown this week. I'll do a rundown next week and just cover the same stuff that's happened in the past week and a half. But Zach, the most important part of this week, are you 0-4 in your season predictions?
I officially am 0-4 in my season predictions.
All right, so if your season predictions were a college football team, you would be on the road to a non-bowl eligibility.
Yeah, the coach of that team would probably be fired.
Uh-huh.
And if it were the NFL, we would be on pace for the number 1 draft pick.
All right, well, I mean, we're not going to start talking about it right this sec later in the episode, but I have a feeling you're going to be right about your prediction this week.
Yeah, we'll get to that later, but yeah, hopefully, I'll talk about that later.
Okay, but yeah, let's talk about App State, Zach. What went wrong? What caused us to lose 34-31?
Well, the thing is, man, is that this game was very back and forth, and even though they led at one point 27-10, it never felt like we were out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really know. I mean, there's a lot of things that we could have done differently, but there really isn't one thing that I look at and say, okay, well, this is what beat us. I mean, it was neck and neck the whole way, and this team was very resilient. I mean, down the stretch. I mean, the way we were able to score and then, make it so close there at the end. I mean, they never quit fighting. There's really not anything I can say bad about one aspect of this team's performance yesterday.
I mean, it's pretty on brand for everything else this season, especially the Wake Forest game last week. This is a team that's resilient. They bounce back. They don't let an early deficit get to them. But once again, just like Wake Forest, it was too little, too late.
Right, and early on, I mean, we did some things well, but App State did things well too. I mean, we got off to the fastest start I think of the whole year. That first opening, almost returned for a touchdown, and then the next play we got in just really quickly on a quick slant at Daz, and we blew it open, and it looked like we were gonna potentially be on pace for a route, but then they responded. They got some stops, and we started running elementary offensive plays there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it started looking like we were, once again, putting the training wheels on Sam, as you like to say, in that second quarter. And it allowed App to get the ball and hold possessions longer, and the defense started to wear down as we got through the game again.
Yeah, I mean, we're 4 games into this season now, and so I'm feeling more and more confident saying that something is up with our offensive play calling in the first half of these games. We've either completely screwed up the first half of the game, this game and Wake Forest, or we've gotten into some big hole like South Carolina. We're good in the fourth quarter because we're letting Sam Howell throw the ball. Throwing the ball is going to open up a lot more holes for Javonte or either one of our 3 running backs to move the ball.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just frustrating. Just running screen after screen, little wide receiver lateral passes and stuff. It's starting to get tiring to watch.
Yeah, and I mean, the whole wide receiver screen plays, there's situations where that's a great, play, and especially in college when you have skill guys at receiver or even running back that are just so fast and quick, you want to find a way to get those guys the ball. And I understand that, but, teams watch film of us, and they see that being something that we like to do. So if there's one thing teams come in preparing for when they're playing this team, this Chapel Hill team this year, is that they want to stop those guys in space on screens and those little scat routes that the running backs run and stuff like that. So I don't really like the amount that we run those types of plays.
Yeah, no, honestly, there were some or a couple, I don't know if it was a wide receiver screen or it was one of our little slants, but you could tell those App State defensive backs were watching film because there were a couple close calls that weren't intercepted, but they could have been.
Yeah.
It was tough, and it just haunts our first halves. It's annoying, and as soon as you get to the fourth quarter, the biggest difference is you're not going to run a wide receiver screen when you're down by 2 touchdowns.
Right.
And that's when we start moving the ball. I feel like I thought we were going to be off to a really, really good start when they busted that trend against Miami, but it seemed like they reverted back a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, and let's give App State a little bit of credit here. I mean, we talked on the podcast on Wednesday night that came out Thursday about how they were most likely going to stack the box and come after us early, and they did exactly that. I mean, they didn't let us have time to really test those inexperienced corners. And I remember looking at you during the game thinking, we got to test these corners. I was looking around and pointing out different one-on-ones I saw and stuff where we had Bo Corrales on short guys and stuff, and we weren't able to get it out there often because, Sam was running for his life. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I mean, you got to give them credit in that regard, but we got to learn to get the ball out quicker, and we've got to stop getting ourselves in second and third down in long yardage.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the biggest things you see with inexperienced quarterbacks is they'll stand in that pocket for as long as they can. And so Sam Howell, he was doing that a bunch the first couple games. He's getting a little better about it, but to not be able to feel that heat, especially, I don't know what the name of the defensive lineman was that screamed across his blind side and caused that strip sack that was returned for a touchdown.
Yeah, his number 48, but I don't remember his name either.
Yeah, I mean, I think that guy also had an interception, I mean, it's up to Sam to be able to recognize that maybe they're bringing an extra guy on the blitz or just to be able to feel that heat. And that kind of leads me into something else I want to talk about. It's just the injuries that are plaguing this team right now. It really feels like something changed offensively as soon as Nick Polino went down.
Yeah, 2 things to your point there. One about Sam is, that'll come with experience. His ability to see that kind of thing at the line and adjust, knowing kind of getting an idea of what the defense might be doing or what they may not be doing. That'll come with time. But you're right. I mean, the injuries to the offensive line, Nick Polino being the featured guy that's out right now, is starting to show. I mean, also Charlie Heck, one of our captains, he broke his hand. I don't know. I saw that on Twitter in the first quarter, so I'm not sure if that happened before the game, if that happened during the first drive or two. I don't know, man.
I really don't know. All I know is that he's one of our captains. He's one of our best players on the offensive side of the ball, and to lose him is serious. It really leaves the only solid offensive lineman I can think of is Tucker. Yeah. But yeah, it's just, I mean, you can't expect too much time in the pocket when all our guys are dropping like flies.
Yeah, Knapp was good up front too. That's their strength on defense is those front 7 guys, front 8 guys, whatever. And they got after Sam, and he just wasn't comfortable yesterday.
No, I totally agree. I mean, they tried their best, especially with some good special teams plays. We had 1 interception. Zach, we definitely didn't have Zach Thomas carve us up at all.
Oh, absolutely not. No.
Which was nice. It was, I don't know, more just an inability to get stops when we need it, especially on that final drive. If we had just gotten a stop on that first set of downs, stopped them on 3rd down, we would have had the ball with at least 80 more seconds than we did.
Oh, yeah.
Instead, we got the ball with just half a minute or something, and there really wasn't much you could do. Credit to Sam for even getting us in field goal range.
Right. Yeah, and I remember I looked at you when it was 3rd down and 6, I think, when Zach Thomas did convert that 3rd down that I think kind of, not literally, but basically ended the game for us. I looked at you and said, if we get off the field right here with the above 2 minutes and a timeout, I think we're going to win this game. I felt like the momentum was going in our favor, and I felt like we would have put it in there at the end, but we didn't get that final opportunity with enough time. It sucks. 2 weeks in a row we haven't been able to get that last stop.
Yeah, I was just about to say, this is the 2nd week in a row where, our offense is in a position to put us up, and we just flat out run out of time. I can't chalk it all up to poor clock management. There was a little bit of that, especially in the Wake game, but man, the defense just needs to get those stops, and it's just so frustrating. But what can you do?
It's just one of those things where the first half the defense is doing everything they can to keep us in it because the offense is struggling and they're getting off the field quickly, and then by the time the offense finally snaps out of that, it seems like that's when the defense is, their fatigue's starting to catch up with them. So it's like that battle that we're fighting within ourselves to click on all cylinders at the same time instead of having to, offense is doing well now, defense isn't, and then the opposite. So we've got to find a way to, collectively do well down the stretch and really the whole game instead of just alternating halves.
Exactly. Oh, man. I mean, we talked about this with the Wake game. It's this alternating halves. Yeah. We haven't played a complete game yet this season. We've played some complete quarters and some complete halves, but that's not without completely screwing up the other half.
Right.
We talked about this walking back from the game. Like, this team could be 4-0, but they also so easily could be 0-4. We could have easily lost against South Carolina. We could have even more easily lost against Miami. We could literally be sitting at 0-4 thinking, like, why on earth would we have hired Mac Brown, fire him, let's go get a young guy. Or we could be sitting at 4-0, like ranked in the top, 25.
Yeah, they were talking about, I know we're going to get to Clemson here in a couple minutes, but they were talking about had we been 4-0 going into this week, that potentially College game day could be a destination point for this upcoming game.
Yeah, but no, instead we dropped 2 games to 2 inferior opponents compared to the 2 games we already won.
Yeah, we beat the 2 teams that were probably better than us.
Uh-huh.
And, you can make your argument for Wake Forest either way you want to. But I feel like that we were a fully healthy Tar Heel team is superior to both Wake Forest and, I don't want to say especially App State, but I think we're also better than App State when we're healthy as well. So we've won the 2 games I feel like are less likely of the 4, which is good, but we still lost the other 2, so it kind of evens itself out, and we're sitting here at 0-2 in our last 2 games, going into the toughest game on our schedule by a country mile.
Yeah, and I mean, with that, why don't we get into that? We have the honor and privilege of playing the number 1 team in the country, the reigning national champions, who absolutely smacked Alabama in the national championship last year, Clemson Tigers. How are you feeling about this game?
Well, I could feel worse, but I could also feel a lot better.
Really be nice to be going into this with a 4-game cushion, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, let's just speak this for what it is, man. If we win this game, it'll be one of the biggest upsets of the entire season.
I will literally
for all of college football
on Saturday night if we upset Clemson.
Yeah, I mean, it would be completely and totally euphoric if we were to find a way to win this game. But yeah, I mean, being completely transparent, as optimistic as I want to be in these type of situations when we are playing, definitely the number 1 team in the country right now. I don't think there's any question about that. You can look at Georgia, you can look at Alabama, you can look at, all those guys in the top 5, and I still think Clemson's shown more early on than any of those other teams have. So this is the number 1 team in the country. They're playing like it. I mean, it's an uphill battle. This is going to be like trying to ice skate uphill for the Tar Heels.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Clemson, they're obviously a great team, and they've shown that their biggest win so far this season being against Texas A&M.
Right.
Beat them 24-10. Then they went and they smacked a Syracuse team that I think was ranked when they played.
They weren't at the time, but they were at the beginning of the season.
Okay.
It was supposed to be a ranked matchup, but Syracuse, I think, dropped one of their first 2, and it knocked them out. But nonetheless, right, I mean, Syracuse was still a good team, or at least they were supposed to be, and Clemson made short work of them.
Yeah, exactly, 41-6. And then They played UNC Charlotte 52-10.
Yeah, and they called off the dogs too. So,
yeah,
I mean that's not even an accurate representation of what they could have done.
So I just feel like they're heating up right in time to play us. I mean, Clemson knows that they cannot afford to drop this game because they don't play any other ranked teams for the rest of the season unless one of the teams on their schedule bumps up into the top 25. But they kind of have to go undefeated or else they're going to catch slack from the committee when it comes to playoff time. But, they got us 3:30 on Saturday. ESPN Football Power Index gives them a 94.4% chance to win. Which, honestly, 5.6% for the Tar Heels, is that generous? I'm feeling like it's a little generous.
I don't know about saying it's a little generous. I mean, I feel like they could have made it a little bit more than that. I mean, this is basically a nice way of saying you don't have much of a chance unless there's an earthquake or something like that, or the Clemson bus breaks down and they all have to go home or something like that. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can't argue with it though.
No, I can't argue with it at all. It's just, I mean, Trevor Lawrence, he was like a preseason like Heisman contender. He really started off like middling, for lack of a better term, this season. He's 66 for 106, so just about 60-ish% for almost 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns and 5 picks, which is the interesting thing.
Yeah.
For comparison, Sam Howell's has 9 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So 7 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. Trevor Lawrence has been making a couple mistakes here and there. But I just don't think that our injury-ravaged defense is going to be able to force him into anything. We're going to have to have something lucky, like, a fumble or a botched snap or a tipped ball that falls right into one of our linebackers' laps.
Right, yeah, and that's the big thing I want to talk about when we talk about our defense versus their offense is, when you are in a game like this as the Tar Heels, you really have one way that you can count on trying to win this game, and that's the unorthodox way. It's taking chances, hoping for the best, laying everything out there. I mean, in this game, we have to not be afraid to pull out everything in our defensive playbook and just either get something out of it or lose trying.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, Ben, if we go out there and think, all right, well, we don't want to be too aggressive because we don't want, Lawrence, who is expected to be one of the, probably the number 1 overall pick whenever he comes out or whatever. We don't want him to carve us up because we send extra guys. We don't want to, give up huge chunk plays because we're, asking our backup corners to cover T. Higgins, which by itself is pretty funny. Then basically what I'm saying is if we play not to lose, we will have no chance. We have to go out there and play to win. And what I mean by that is, obviously you play to win. Don't take it literally, but you have to be aggressive. You can't just go out and play base coverages and stuff, playing like hoping they're not going to, beat you for 70-yard bombs and hoping they're just going to work their way down the field. You got to take chances.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to be able to wait these guys out and hopefully like tire out their offensive and defensive line.
Yeah.
That's absolutely not going to happen.
Probably not.
Any of Clemson's players could likely just run our guys under the table as far as athletics go, athleticism, I should say. So yeah, you cannot just play conservative. I swear when I see a wide receiver screen get busted for a loss of 2, I'm just gonna lose it. If we come out with that conservative play calling, it's gonna drive me crazy.
Yeah, and transitioning to our offense against their defense, same thing. It's about being aggressive. It's about playing to win and not, trying not to lose.
But dude, we're so good in the fourth quarter because we go into it down 2 touchdowns and it's like, what do you have to lose, right?
Right.
We need that what do we have to lose mindset all 4 quarters. If we have that, if we let Sam just fling the ball and just see what happens, dominoes have to fall in the right order for us. But we can't have a slow start. If we have a slow start, just turn off your TVs, just go home. There's no shot.
Yeah, I mean, but kind of what you were getting at is all the pressure is on Clemson here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think we have a whole lot of pressure on us at all. We're 0-2 in our last 2 games, lost 2 games. A lot of people thought we should have won. And Clemson, like you were talking about earlier with the, thinking about the committee way down the line, they have to win all these games. I mean, if they lose one, especially with the way the SEC is this year, the SEC, now that Notre Dame's gotten knocked out and, stuff like that, not that they were going to get in again anyway, but there's so many SEC teams that could end up getting a spot.
Yeah.
And with the way LSU's playing, Georgia's playing, Alabama, obviously, there could be 2 SEC teams, which means if Clemson loses a game, they could get the boot. And
dude, there could be 3 SEC teams between Bama, Georgia, and LSU. The way they're all playing.
Yeah, I mean that's one. The Clemson, Bama, LSU, and Georgia are number 1, 2, 3, and 4 right now.
Yeah,
aren't they?
I think so. Yeah.
I think LSU's 4.
Yeah, LSU is 4.
Okay, all right, yeah, then we're good. So. Yeah, I mean, that right there could be the playoff, but Clemson could get the boot really easily if they lose one of these. So we have to take advantage of the pressure being on them and not on us. I completely agree with you. Let Sam throw it. Let's just go out and, say, let's see how good we are. This is our measuring point. We're not going in here, thinking that if we lose this game, it's a disappointment. We're going to go in here and give it our all, and see what happens. And if we can somehow compete, if we can even, make it a game for a while or down the stretch, by God, then let's see what happens, man. That's really all I can say about it.
Yeah, I mean, if by some miracle it's a one-score game going into the fourth quarter, Zach, my goodness. Keenan's going to be electrified. Like, it's... anything can happen, man. Like, I mean, you know that. I know that. Listeners, you obviously know that. Like, there's always a chance for, like, an App State versus a Penn State game. Yeah. Even though App State ended up not winning that one. Yeah. The inferior team on paper can upset the number 1, number 2, number 3 team any day of the week. Mm-hmm. And so they just have to go in with the mindset, why not us?
Exactly. And if they do that, then I will have nothing bad to say about them. If we lose this game because we went out there and slung it around and gave it our all and never quit fighting no matter what the score is or was, then I will have nothing but good things to say about this team. But if we go out there and Clemson gets the ball first and they score in 5 plays, and then we go out there, get a 3 and out, then they go back and score again or something, and then we just start loafing around on the field, or people start, getting hurt, and we just start, just hanging out and waiting for, the game to be over, then that'll be an indication of where this team's, mind is right now. And it won't be a place where we want it to be.
I mean, it's just really tough because we're coming off of 2 straight losses for games that we should have won, which I would almost prefer us having started 0-2, gotten 2 more wins after that, and then go into this game having won 2. But maybe the players recognize that, we've underachieved the last couple games and we need to step it up.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what the mindset.
Have to do that though, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, shoot, I've always wondered, especially never really having played football myself, like what goes through a team's head when they know, like I'm talking about like a Furman before they go and play Alabama, or shoot, a UNC Charlotte before they go and play Clemson. Like, what is that mindset when you are so much the underdog, like you shouldn't even be playing in the same league?
Well, but I'll be honest with you, I can't speak to answer that question, but I can speak to answer the other way, because when I was in high school, one of my years, we were a team that, was, in conversation to be, one of the top teams in the playoffs and, almost won our conference and all that. And whatever games on our schedule where, we didn't really even have to show up half our team, we probably would have won. So I know what it feels like to be on Clemson's side. And the answer is, pressure is on you. That's not a joke. I mean, you feel it. And you know that, they're coming after you. They're giving it everything. They don't care. They're going to throw everything at you. You're the one with the spotlight on you. You have to be the one that's careful. All the pressure really is on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll just see how this North Carolina team handles the pressure and handles adversity. Mac's a seasoned coach, so I'm expecting him to say the right things and do the right things to prepare this team. But, Zach, while we start to wrap up this episode, I guess this is kind of goofy given all we've talked about, how like it's really going to take a lot to win this game, but what would it take for North Carolina to upset the number 1 team in the country and walk away with a win next Saturday?
Balls to the wall. I'm gonna say it that bluntly. We've hinted on it the whole episode, Ben. We just gotta throw everything we got out there, because that's what I mean. We'll see if that's enough. I don't think it will be, but we'll have to. That's our only option here. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I want to mimic something that I said a few minutes ago, but it's going to take that fourth quarter mindset. Mm-hmm. Quarters 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Every single play.
We literally cannot take a second to catch our breaths. No. It's pedal to the metal, like you said, like balls to the wall, 100% of the time. No slow starts, no slow second halves. Yeah. If they're going to do it, they got to do it from the first kickoff.
If they make any mistakes, we have to be there ready to capitalize.
Exactly. But on that note, and I guess we'll bring it more back to earth here, what's your score prediction for this week?
I got Clemson 42-17. I think that they won't score quite as much as some people think that they will because of, for just, I don't know, whatever reason. We'll see. But I don't think we'll score any more than 17, especially if their starters are out there.
Yeah. I mean, I dearly, dearly hope you're about to go 0-5.
Oh, that'd be great.
Guessing on the season. That'd be amazing. Honestly, you should start, putting money on it if for some reason we upset them. But, I'm going to mimic that. I actually think that we might put up a fight. I want to say, It's going to be 30-20.
All right.
I think our defense can do some stuff. I think our offense can stick with them for a little bit. But at the end of the day, Clemson's just got, bigger dogs in this fight than us. But I'm really hoping that we put up a good fight and at least have something to, get back to 500 with by the end of this game. But thank you guys all again, as per usual, for tuning into the Heel Deal podcast. Make sure you guys give us a follow on Twitter and send us any suggestions you might have, feedback, anything like that is super helpful for us. Zach, it's been good talking to you.
Yeah, man.
Can't wait for Saturday, and we will see you guys next week.
All right, and as always, guys, go to Hell Duke.